All right, and welcome to another episode of the Berserker Naked Podcast. I am your host, Berserker Jack, 69. Well, I just call myself Berserker Jack. So, the Berserker Naked Podcast. You guys remember we used to have the show where we basically told you everything that there ever is to know about the pharmaceutical industry, about how, like, everything happens. Well, so tonight's first episode is basically, if you were in a situation and you didn't know what you were doing, how the hell would you react to it? So basically, if you were sitting, so there's a couple of things that I've come across on my So, there's a couple things that I've come across on my I don't know if I have the volume turned up loud enough or not, but I think I turned it down. I might have to start over, but I don't really care. So, there are some things that have come across my porn category on what I like and what I want to watch. And so, what would you do? One of the things that I have a fetish for is like female muscle growth and like when girls expand and contract and shit like that and they get bigger and they put on like muscle and they work out. And they, put on a lot of, body weight and everything else. And they expand and contract and shit. And they put on a lot of muscle. Right? So, I don't know what the hell is so much more cool about it, but I find it funny. Now, imagine, if you will, you're sitting there, and your girlfriend comes up to you, and your girlfriend says to you, "Hey, I have this really cool trick. Do you want to see this?" And you're like, "What the hell kind of trick would this be?" And you're sitting there. And imagine if you will, your girlfriend starts getting really muscular and starts ripping out of her fucking clothes. Yeah. What would you do? Would you scream and run like a little bitch? Or would you stay there and caress your fucking woman? You know? The only thing that I would hope is that she wouldn't beat your ass. You know? Dominate you or something like that, because you never did that to her. No. You never would beat your girlfriend or anything like that. You never hit your girlfriend. So why the hell would she hit you? So that's another thing that comes to my mind in the world of the industry and stuff is, so guys make these female muscle growth videos. They make these girls, they make these girls expand and contract, get bigger and whatever, and everything else. And my biggest fucking thing is why the hell do they always have the girl beat the shit out of the guy? Why they have him, the girl, grows twice the size of the guy, and then he beats the shit out of him. You're like, the girl grows twice the size of the guy, and then the girl beats the shit out of the guy. Which no guy in their right mind would ever want to beat a woman. No. hitting a woman is bad, guys. Yeah. It's never a good thing. No. It never is a good thing. It always leads to something worse, and it's not good. No. So, why is it always partaked as being okay in comic books and in other stuff all the time? I don't understand that. I hate that. Why can't, like, couples, like if they're a couple, why does a couple have to fight? That's what I don't understand. Why can't couples ever just get along and be happy with each other? Like, you married the best thing in the entire life, you know? Or she married the best thing in the entire life. She married you. Yeah, she gave you a chance. She chose you out of 65, billion other men. She chose you, and yet you can't make it fucking work. You know? But yeah, like, imagine just sitting around and everything else, you know? And I had a dream last night. That I went out to the bar. I met this girl sitting there, and she was like, yeah, you're really a nice guy. And I was like, God, this has to be a dream, because we all know that a woman would never walk up to me and tell me that I look good and everything else. But, so, I was, doing this, I was doing my Jaximus dream, the Jaximus, the Berserker, the Jaximus, the Berserker story. Well, if you guys don't know that, that's another podcast. I call it the Jaximus, the Berserker story. I just finished chapter 1 of my story, but I'm working on chapter 2. And basically, I have these dreams, these really weird dreams. So, I had this dream last night. It was a Jaximus dream. And when I say it's a Jaximus dream, basically what that means is Jaximus is this guy who's a Viking. He was born in the 600s. Yeah, he was born in the 600s. He turned 21 in 621. And he lived in the Viking times, went all the way through the Native American times, went through the Civil War, went through everything. And he's been going back and forth, and he's basically the bastard son of Odin. Yes. He's the bastard son of Odin. So, yeah. He's basically Odin's kid. Yeah. He's like a bastard kid, right? And basically what he does is he comes back and forth through these time portals. He basically comes down to Earth, and he goes to bars, and he basically, like, mind manipulates the fuck out of people, and he makes them think that, they're having a really good time. I just want to tell you right now, I'm trying Celsius Grape. Oh my God, Celsius Grape is very good. If you guys have not tried Celsius, try Celsius Grape and Mountain Dew. Just give it a shot. Or try the Purple Thunder Mountain Dew with Celsius Grape. Oh my God, it's so good. So anyway, Jaximus, I had this dream last night. So Jaximus is brilliant. This girl walks up to Jaximus and goes, "Hey, I think you're very sexy." And I was like, dude, I know this is a dream because that never happens. So Jack Smith is sitting there, and he's sitting at the bar, and he's wearing a pair of overalls, bib overalls, wearing a pair of like red ones, and then he has a wife beater on. That's all he has on, and he's sitting there at the bar, and this girl walks up to him, and says, hey, you're sexy as hell. And he goes, well, thank you. So are you. And she goes, yeah. All men say that. And all of a sudden, she rears back. And she punches him, like, right in the face. Just tries to punch him in the face, and he catches her fist. And he goes, what the hell brought all this hostility on? And she goes, and this is a dream last night. And then Jackson was like, what the hell brought all this hostility on? And she goes, I know who you are. You're this guy who comes to the bar all the time, tries to pick up chicks. And my friend was in here last week, and you did something to her, and she ended up, hanging out with you. And then you made her so happy that she was smiling the whole time. She went home, and she basically divorced her husband. And you had coffee with her. And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, you're not going to get lucky with me tonight. And I said, oh, okay. I don't really want to get lucky with you. Because, I'm not really here at the bar to pick up anybody. I'm kind of just having a wonderful night, just minding my own business. And, and so this girl is sitting here at the bar, and she looks at Jacksomus, and she says, and she says, well, I'm one of these kind of girls that can handle anything that a guy throws at me. And Jack Smith says, well, anything? And she goes, yeah, anything. And Jack Smith says, well, how about we go shot for shot? And she goes, you're on. That's where she fucked up. Jack Smith is a demigod. And she didn't know that. Because a lot of people think that Jacksomus is just a normal, everyday guy. No. Jacksomus is a demigod. Jacksomus is the bastard son of Odin, which means that if you tempt him, he will kick your ass. Yeah. And he will win. And he's very good at winning. He's won a lot of fights, a lot of wars, a lot of battles. And, yes, he's a demigod. So, Jack Smith gets this shot, pays for it, you know. Well, he has a bar, he has a tab set up at the bar. They're going back and forth, shot for shot, shot for shot, shot for shot. And all of a sudden, he goes, how we doing? And she goes, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna win. And all of a sudden Jackson was like, okay. No. And Jackson takes the bottle of Jack. Yeah. Drinks the whole thing down right in front of her and slams it on the table. And she goes, holy shit. And Jackson is like, are you done? And she goes, what are you? And he goes, well, I'm Jaximus, the Berserker. And she goes, And then all of a sudden, Jaximus throws her over her shoulder, takes her out to the car, puts her inside the car, and takes her home to her house. And he drives her home and takes her upstairs, and she says, well, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm just going to put you in your bed. She goes, well, where are we? And he goes, well, you didn't tell me where you live, so I brought you back to my house, and I put you in the guest room. And she's like, well, that's nice of you, and that's sweet. And he goes, yeah, I'm not going to plan on doing anything with you. I'm not going to fucking, get you drunk and then take advantage of you. That's not how a nice guy is. And he goes, well, I'll see you in the morning. And all of a sudden, Jaximus goes to sleep. And he's woken up to a girl standing there over top of him like a gigantus. And he goes, what the hell happened to you? And she goes, well, it happens as I get drunk I grow when I get drunk. So she busts out through the house. Jaximus loses his house. And then he turns himself into a gigantus. He's twice as tall as she is. She's only probably 100 feet tall. Jaximus is 500 feet tall. And Jaximus kind of looks at her, and then she goes, oh shit. And then she falls over, and that's it. Yeah. So shrinks back down to normal, and then Jaximus takes a piss, shoots it all over her, and knocks her out with it. And she's laying there, covered in his shit. Well, covered in her piss, covered in his piss. And it's like, ha 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 ha. And she's laying there. And then I woke up, and I woke up from a dream. So a lot of things. So, over the years, I've watched a lot of porn. But porn movies just make me laugh. Yeah, I just don't... No, I don't really jerk off anymore to porn. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I really don't care that much about... Yeah. I don't really care that much about porn. Because it makes me laugh. Like, I'll seriously watch a porno and I'll start laughing. Because I think it's funny as shit. Because... I think it's really funny because, like, I'll watch it and then all of a sudden I'll just start laughing. And I'll think to myself, like, what the actual fuck? Like, but who actually thinks? Yeah, like, who actually thinks like some of these people? Like, one of the things that I don't understand is why is it that when a guy comes into a house, like so in a porno, why is it that like the guy's like a plumber or is like something, you know, like it's some kind of profession that is just like, you know, working on the house or like a handyman, and his first line is like, well, my pipes could use a little work, and the girl's like, oh yeah? My pipes are backed up too. And then all of a sudden it's like, really? Who the hell even says that? Like, who honestly says that their pipes are backed up? Like, they haven't had, like, sex in, like, 8,000 years. You know, my piping is backed up, you know? But, also, another thing that's really funny is, like, what happened to basically just sitting there and saying, you know, things like, you know, oh, you know, yeah, I wanted to go out on a date, you know, with you on Friday and then go, like, out and eat pizza or something. And then all of a sudden they just start ripping each other's clothes off and they're like, yeah, pizza can wait. You know? But who's like that? I mean, who's like that? Seriously. I don't really know. But one of the things that you have to understand is that, like, porn has changed over the years, like, so much. Now, I don't know what it is about, you know, porn, but there are, you know, girls that are not even, like, they don't want to be with a guy. Like, there are girls that are on like porn pages that are talking about, like, the biggest I'll ever be with a guy is like 8.5 inches. Now this is 8.5 inches long, yes, and you know, by about 8 inches wide. Mm-hmm. They like girthy, you know, fucking, you know, massive, you know, right, you know, like, you know, Hulk penises, you know. But all of a sudden you turn around and you, like, go on your Facebook page and everything else nowadays, and it's like, you know, they always talk about, like, boner pills and, you know, penis pills and pumping and all this other shit and Kegel exercises and all this other stuff, and people just do it because they have nothing better to do. Yeah. And, you know, I think that some people don't quite understand, like, what, you know, like, what happens, like, you know, like, you know, they don't get it or something or not, you know. Yeah. Well, yeah, I could go home or I could just, you know, sit at the office and I won $20. Yeah, I won $20. I won a Starry topper or whatever the thing is, and I got $20 in a gift card coming to my house. I don't know what it's for, but well, I would like to win the 20,000 or whatever the what it is, how much money would be in that, Pepsi, summertime thing. Well, Quick Trip's like $250,000. Did you see that? Yeah, it was like $250,000 for the Mountain Dew, Quick Trip summer, whatever. You can win $250,000. Imagine winning that shit. I wouldn't even know what to fucking do with it all. No, I wouldn't even know what to do with, I wouldn't even know, all I would know is that I'd pay off my debts, and then that's about all I would do, and then leave the rest of the money in my fucking account, and, just try to figure out what I'm going to do with it. Because that's what I've been trying to figure out for the longest time, is, what would you do if you won $1 million? Would you seriously spend that money all on yourself, or would you invest it into some shit? What would you do with it? I mean, I got I got debts and shit I gotta pay off and stuff like that, and I would really like to pay them off, and I would really like to do something with myself. I do want to buy another vehicle, but I want to buy a vehicle and then pay it off, and not have a car payment, because nobody wants another fucking payment, So nobody wants a car payment. Nobody wants that goddamn freaking payment on their ass like they've had for the longest fucking time. But see, there are things that you have to have that you're always going to have a payment on. It's either mortgage, car, insurance, or a cell phone. Yeah, I think those are the 4 things that you'll always have a payment on. Yeah, I think you'll always have a payment. I want to turn my brights off, but I didn't want to blind the piss out of this person. I thought I had my brights on, but I didn't. But yeah, you'll always have a mortgage. Yeah, you have a mortgage, a cell phone bill, insurance, and car payment. I mean, if you ever buy a car, unless you pay it completely off. But there are 4 or 5 things in life that you'll always pay for until you get it paid off. And sometimes it's really easy to pay off a car payment, and sometimes it's not. I mean, shit, dude. I paid all the way up to $6,000, and then all of a sudden I fucking went out and said, oh shit, I want to fucking get the vehicle in my name, which it already was, and then I fucked it all up, and then I got a $14,000 loan. Yeah, I could have paid the shit off right away if I would have fucking known what I was doing, and I didn't know what I was doing, because, see, I didn't want the vehicle to be taken away from me, so I wanted to keep paying on it, but I wanted to get it paid off, is what I wanted to do. So I could have paid off the car, yeah, and then had no money, coming in, and then I was paying back the where I could spend the whole $14,000 on myself, which now I have a $14,000 loan and an $11,000 loan. The $11,000 one, I don't really owe anything on that because it's not really my car, but I'm going to just try to get it taken care of because I want to get it paid off. I want to get it off my record and everything else. So I don't really have a lot of debt. No, I don't. I only have about $20,000 in debt. which is not that bad. No. But my debt to income ratio is not that bad either. I'm actually a person who's, taking care of his bills and who's paying his stuff very well. It's just that I have a lot of shit from a carryover from something that happened in my past, which I can't take care of right now because I don't have the fucking money. But I keep on sitting here saying things like, well, maybe if I got 50 grand, from the lottery, or, $100,000 or $250,000 would be really nice. But see, the thing is that if I had that kind of money, and I'm one of these kind of guys that just would like to have a cushion. And if I had $250,000, first of all, I'd pay off all my debts. Then I would have about, $200,000 left over. And I would go buy another car, because the thing is that I want to turn the car that I already own into a sleigh. So, but I also want to get my business started, I like my Traxaholics, my Trax Revolution Traxaholics, I like them. And I like playing my Santa Claus, and doing my Santa Claus thing. But the thing is that all I'm trying to do is turn around and make my life better. But there are times when people come out and they say, hey, what would you do if you had this kind of money? What would you do if you had something that was going your way that made you feel 20 times better? Like, I've had this one guy, there was a movie back in the day, it was called Office Space. And this guy was like, dude, if you came into a lot of money, what would you do? And he was like, 2 chicks at one time. And his name was Lawrence, and I was like, dude, that guy had a pretty cool idea, but he would always tell his next door neighbor that the breast exam was on. And what it was always a woman who was like feeling up her breasts on the TV because she was doing a mammogram, checking out for lumps and cancer and shit like that, which no man ever wants a woman to have. I never want a woman to ever have breast cancer. No, I don't. But I know it probably happens. Like, no woman ever wants a man to have testicular cancer. So make sure you get your shit checked. Prostate, your testicles, or your breasts, or whatever. Make sure you get them all checked by your local doctor. One of the things that I've always been told is that, look, if you're gonna fucking come into some money and like you have no idea what you're gonna do with the money, like, always hold on to it, but don't go and blow it on hookers and beer, okay? Invest the shit. Invest it into something that you think is gonna have a great turnout, Don't do any money into that Bitcoin shit. No. Or electric or whatever, Don't put any money into Bitcoin, because I don't know what the hell that's all about. That was something that just seemed like it toppled under and fucking went downhill, because I sure as shit can't ever fucking make any money in Bitcoin. I can't even make any money in Acorns. Every time I try to put money into that Acorns thing, or invest in that stupid Acorn shit, I always get fucked over in the ass. But see, right now, I'm trying to get myself taken care of. So that's why I have all these fucking things come up in my thing that are saying, yeah, your card was declined, or your card was declined, and everything else, because the one thing is, I ain't got no damn money right now. No, I don't. But I'm getting paid on Friday or Thursday or whatever the hell it is. But that whole entire paycheck is probably going to be gone. Because, if I don't make any goddamn money around here, then I'm not going to fucking, I'm not going to have anything go my fucking way. Now, people sit here and they think to themselves over and over and over again, like, hey, what would you do if $1 million just fell out of your, not fell out of the sky, but what would you do if you went to your bank account and you had $1 million in your account. Well, first of all, you'd probably be freaking the fuck out. You'd probably be like, where the hell did all this shit come from? You know? Who the hell stole this shit and put it in your account? Because, one day, that could happen. You could turn around and you could have $1 million in your account. But then as soon as that happened, like in my case, if I had $1 million in my account, bank would call me and be like, Jack, you got $1 million in your account. It's just something that went into your account and it's not true, so don't believe it. Because the thing is that I would never fucking know if it was true or not. Because I would never think that would happen to me. Because one, it would never happen to me. Nothing ever goes my way. Nothing ever happens to me. I'm one of the biggest freaking losers in all the world. I try to be positive about everything. I try to remove the negative dildo out of my ass all the time. But for some fucking goddamn reason, I keep on being brought back to the negative downside of life because I'm not supposed to have anything ever go my way. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is. I don't know what I ever did to feel like I have a target on my fucking chest all the time or on my back from everybody who is just like, Jack, you're just a worthless piece of shit. Jack, you're just an asshole. Jack, you're this. Jack, you're that. Why don't you just wake up and smell the coffee? Because nothing is ever going to happen to you. You're always going to be a loser that is never going to go anywhere. And that's how I always feel. And the reason why I always feel that way is because I've always been told that I was worthless. I've always been told that I have never been good enough. And I don't know why. I don't know why everybody has to look down on me like I'm the worst person in the world. Like, what did I ever do to deserve, that shit? And I look at myself and I say, self, why is it that a guy like me who busts his ass and goes to the gym and turns around and tries to be, well, I don't go to the gym anymore, but he busts his ass and he works out at home, tries to be happy, and tries to, feel good about himself every step of the way. Because, one, I don't ever want to feel down. I don't ever want to feel like I don't matter anymore. I want somebody out there to make me feel like I'm worth the ground or worth the shit that I walk on. But it's so fucking hard. And I don't know what I ever did to deserve that. Because I don't know what I ever did wrong. I sit here every day and I think to myself, shit, what did I do wrong? Because all I ever want to do is just be happy. I want to pop the negative balloon, start working on being positive, and enjoy life. That's what I want to do. But it's always so freaking hard because people just don't want to let it happen. They always want to make it something more than it is, or something less than it is, or something. But one of the things that more and more people in this world are trying to freaking cope with is they're trying to cope with the fact that some people, live their lives every day like this is their last day on this earth. Some people some people out there will drink their entire life away because of something that they saw. It's like the song Whiskey Lullaby. Yeah, it's like the song Whiskey Lullaby. This guy goes to a bar to see his girlfriend. Yeah, to go see his girlfriend. And all of a sudden, this dude comes out of nowhere and kisses his girlfriend. And he leaves the bar. And then he goes home and he drinks his fucking problems away. Never calls her on the phone, never tells her anything, and then he turns around and he blows himself away. Well, he drinks his life away. Yeah. And he ends up dying in a whiskey lullaby. Yes. So, why is it that when a woman goes out and gets kissed by another guy, the guy who fucking tries so hard to be with that woman sees this and he just thinks, you know what? I'm not good enough. Because a lot of men out there think that they're not good enough for any woman out there. They try so hard to make it work. They try so hard to make it right. They try so hard to make that woman, say, I love you. But it takes one thing from a woman kissing another guy for us to just think, you know what? Fuck it, we're done. Because sometimes we say we're done. We say, you know what? Fine, you want to be with that guy? Go be with that guy. Because the thing is a woman will say the exact same thing. A woman will sit there and she'll say, you know what? You want to kiss that girl? Go and kiss that girl. They will never sit down and talk about it. Never sit down and talk about their problems. Never fucking do anything about it. They just think that it's instantaneously over, and that's how it always is. I'm not saying that that's how it was in my relationship, but I've had a lot of women in my life basically look at me and tell me, Jack, you're a fuck ass and you're a fuck stain, and all you want to do is be with other women. And no, I don't want to be with other women. I don't want to be with any woman sometimes. I want to be by myself, because sometimes being by yourself is the best way. Because you want to know something? You can't hurt yourself when yourself is the only thing when yourself is the only thing to blame. Yeah. Because sometimes guys blame themselves for being the wrong person in a woman's life. I sit there and blame myself all the time for what happened between me and my ex from a long time ago, man. I mean, yeah, Joe and I are done. And we've been that way for a long time. But, for almost a year now, for almost a year and 7 months, we've been done. But one of the things that you have to understand is I blame myself all the time for everything that's ever happened. And I'll sit here and I'll tell you the reason why I blame myself is because, one, Joe doesn't need to hear that shit anymore. Joe doesn't need that shit anymore. Joe needs to move on. Joe needs to go home. She needs to go back to England and be with her family. She doesn't need to worry about some has-been broke-ass man that she doesn't want to be with for the rest of her life. Because I was never good enough to be with her in the first place. No, I was never good enough to be with Joe in the first fucking place. And I'll tell you that. Because I wasn't. Joe was better off without me. And you want to know why? It's because she knew what she wanted when she got into this relationship. She knew what she wanted, she knew what she was going to do, and she knew where it was going to come from. And one of the things that I say is I always say, you know what, Joe, you're fine. You're fine. That's how you want it. That's how we're going to get it done. And, I'm perfectly okay with that. And I'm perfectly okay with that. And that's how it's over now. And it's over and we moved on. I sit here every day and I think to myself, God, am I ever going to find the right woman again, or am I going to die alone? Because I always think that I'm going to die alone. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know I'm going to die alone. Yeah. I'm going to die alone because the thing is that's how I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be alone. I'm never supposed to find the right woman. I always sit here and I always think of these perfect women in my fucking head. I always think of these Valkyries, these shield maidens, these women that I want to be with for the rest of my life. And I think to myself, you know what, self? Why can't I be happy? Why can't I find the perfect woman? And I came across this guy on the computer the other night. His name is Dean. And he runs this program where he helps guys get laid. And yeah, he helps guys get laid. And basically, you pay him $297 and he'll give you this tape or this file, this PDF file that shows you how to get laid. And I swear to God, I bet you this is what it is. Basically, it tells you that you have to go out there and you have to, take a woman out to dinner and you have to spend money on her. Because if you want a woman to like you, you have to have them spend money on you. No, you don't. If you want a woman to like you, you have to be confident in yourself. You have to have confidence in yourself. You have to have confidence in her. And you have to understand that she is somebody that you can talk to. Yeah. You don't have to have a big dick. And you don't have to have a lot of money either. You can just be yourself. You can just live yourself and be happy and love somebody. But see, here's one of the things that I say about this Dean guy, is that this Dean guy is worth $70 million. He's only a year older than I am. Yeah. So yeah, he's only a year older than I am, and he looks like he's built like $1 million. So you know what? If my ass would go in the gym and start working out and doing 1,000 push-ups every day and looking like $1 million, I would have women fucking wanting me too. But you want to know something? All I'm trying to do is find the next Mrs. Claus. I'm trying to find a woman that likes me for what I do. I don't care if I bend her over and fuck her in the ass all night long until she screams, "Oh yes, Jack, you're the best fucking guy in the entire world." I mean, I had a woman one time tell me that I ate her out better than any guy that she's ever been eaten out by. And I'll tell you right now, you know what? If that's how you want to be treated, if you want some guy to lay you down and eat you out and then fuck your brains out until the cows come home, by all means, go right ahead. Be a fucking fuck doll. Or be a fucking, a slut or whatever. I don't know what the hell they even call it anymore. But most guys, all they want is somebody to care about them. And all I want is a Mrs. Claus. Yeah. All I want is a Mrs. Claus, somebody who's cool, someone who's calm, who's collected, knows what she wants, and basically that's about it. Yeah. I could care less. Because everybody turns around someday. Yeah, because I play a non-traditional Santa Claus at Christmas time, but that's a whole different ball game, and you guys will never know who that is, so don't worry about it. Yeah. I don't know. But I'm just looking for a girl who wants to be with me, who wants to love me, who basically wants to just understand that there is a guy out there that wants to do something with her other than just sleep with her. Because I don't want to sleep with everybody. I want to live my life. So, this isn't a final thought or anything like that. This is just one part of the whole entire, thing tonight for the first episode of the Berserker Naked podcast. Yeah, this is the first episode of the Berserker Naked podcast for the new season. Because we're starting big. And, I did a 50-minute tape and everything else, and I'm actually thinking about just ending it here because I don't really know exactly what I want to go on and say for the next one. But the thing is that, like I said, basically all I want is a woman that'll take care of me and a woman that likes to be with me. But anyway, that's what most guys want. And women want the same thing. They want a guy that'll cuddle up with them at night, read a book to them, sit down and have a good time. I mean, you can have wild, passionate sex all you fucking want. Sometimes sex doesn't make a relationship. So my final thought right now for this being said is that, look, we live in 2025. We live in a time where things go by so fast, where relationships are based off of how much money you have, what kind of social status your Facebook page is, or something like that, or basically if you have confidence in yourself. So the way that you make things work is you have confidence in yourself. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Money is just a thing. Money's a possession that you can't take with you when you're dead. But you want to know something? You can take memories. They're all in your head. And then when you die, the memories get erased. Because when you're buried in the ground, you don't remember a goddamn thing. But what I always say is remember one thing and remember one thing only. Basically, love yourself before you love someone else. I mean, the way things are going in this world right now, the way things are, the way things that people love each other, the way things that people talk about each other, it doesn't matter what kind of possessions you have. It doesn't matter how big your boat is. It doesn't matter how big your dick is. It matters if you take care of yourself and make yourself better. So you want to know how you get that bigger penis? You exercise. You get rid of that big fat roll above your dick and fucking make it shrink down. And then you get rid of that fucking gut that you have and you fucking make yourself look bigger and you make yourself look more muscular. Now, you don't have to have a six-pack. No, you don't have to have a six-pack. You can have a bubble gut. You can have a beer gut. And you can look amazing. As long as you have big arms and, a big chest and you're taking care of yourself and you're healthy. That's all that matters. Like I said, if nature didn't make it, don't take it. That's what was said on a different website. But I say it too because I stand behind it. Because the thing is that you can turn around and drink energy drink after energy drink after energy drink, but it's not going to make you feel better about yourself. No. Vegetables, fruits are going to make you feel better about yourself. Go online and look up what kind of stuff that fruits and vegetables do for you. And you'll be fucking surprised that what happens when you have cucumber and carrots, or when you have, bananas and apples, or pomegranate and oranges, or something like that, or whatever. As long as you take it and understand that, your body is a fortress. And the one thing is you want that fortress to live forever, you do stuff to keep it going. If you want it to die, just don't do a fucking thing. Lay there with your head up your ass. That's basically what the world does with everything else. See, the one thing in this world that people don't quite understand is that people don't understand that there is hope for everybody. And it's not a velvet rope hanging from a tree. No. Everybody can change the way they are. You can be sexually active if you fucking just keep on trying. You know, you can take boner pills if you want, and you want to see if they work or not, just keep doing them. Or follow me. I spend all my money on boner pills because I sit there and I want to see which works, so that I can tell my fans like you that don't buy this one, don't buy this one, don't buy that one, don't buy this, but buy this, do this, don't do that. You know, there are so many things out there that help you in that mindset, but the one thing that you got to do is help yourself first. So thank you for watching tonight's episode of the Berserker Naked Podcast. This is the first episode back from, shutting down everything and starting all over again. Because the thing is now that I'm on Rumble and Twitter, or Rumble and, not Twitter, Rumble and, now that I'm on Rumble and YouTube, now that I'm on Rumble and YouTube, and that I post a lot of stuff, I hope that you guys will start to see a beautiful, bright, sunshiny day for yourselves, and we'll go from there. Now, people who follow Jaximus Claus, Jaximus Claus is me, but the Berserker Naked Podcast is the naked truth about my life, is the naked truth about what I'm going through, what's happening in my life, and what I need to do, and what I need to change. And the one thing that you have to understand is Jaximus Claus or Camo Claus does not have to have the Berserker Naked Podcast on his show. So Camo Claus is something that I do in the wintertime, around Christmas, when I do that for the kids. But the Berserker Naked Podcast is my life, and that's how I want to live, and I want to be happy. So that's how it's going to be. So that's what I'm going to do. And I just want you guys to respect and love the show like you used to, and we'll go from there. And I'll start to do lives again. I'll start to do TV shows again, because I love doing the shows. I also love showing you guys weird porn that comes across my stuff, but I don't know what I can show on YouTube and what I can't show on stuff. But I think Rumble's a great thing. I think Rumble, you can do just about anything you want. I can't remember. I don't know. I got to look around on Rumble tonight and find out what they can do on kind of things and what kind of things can you not do. I have no idea. But I'm the kind of person who just wants to be happy and wants to go from there. But I just don't want to do something that's, stupid and boring and dumb. So I just hope you guys, have a great night and great life and everything else. This has been episode number 1 of the Berserker Naked Podcast. I'm Jaximus. You're not. And have a great night.